Hey everybody, welcome to episode 143 of Tactical Crouch. Kickedtripod here with Yiska and Volamel. It's roster movements today. We're not gonna lie to you, it's gonna be all roster movements today, almost the entire time, which is cool because tomorrow we're gonna have none other than GM for the London Spitfire, Nuki, on the show to talk about obviously the London Spitfire, what she's been up to, what we can expect there. So that's going to be a ton of fun. So no Wednesday show this week. Instead, we're doing a Monday and a Tuesday. So make sure to come hang out and chill with us for that. As always, our podcast is supported by our patrons. If you like the show, go to patreon.com/tacticalcrouch. Big thank you to our patron producers: Refine Bean, Ferdino Pin, Battle Crab, Kuchikopi Lotion, Rex Zane, Audio Compass, Kasha67, Sharp, Picasso, Nathan, Your Misery, Hunter Tane, Fabled Steven, Roger B, Owen, Chris R34444, Horbjorn. I listen to this podcast whilst on the toilet and in the shower thinking of Yiska, and Peace Camper. If you like the show, want to support, you're like, hey, I listen to you guys every week. You give me a lot of awesome content. How can I support? Patreon.com/tacticalcrouch. Great way to do that. Let us get started. Hey guys, been a while.
Hello.
Feels like it's been a while.
It's been
Feels
a while,
like
yeah.
it.
Last
Yeah,
week was
really.
a blur for me.
I was
you were
on
also
vacation.
like ill,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was
like big ill.
I know. It's just I'm still recovering, I think, mentally and physically.
Mhm.
And got into Star Wars Squadrons, by the way.
I see that.
That was
Is that
kinda
the new
fun.
drinking game, or are we playing that sober?
I don't know if I could play that after drinking too much. It's a lot of like
Probably not.
spinny
True.
doozies.
Yes.
And I've got like
Very true.
I've got the new monitor, which is bigger and it's curved, so it's like super immersive. But it's also like super immersive. So ton of fun though. And you know,
Nice.
just kind of in that Shadowlands waiting room right now, I think.
Pretty much.
And Cyberpunk
Pretty much.
and 3080.
Oh,
I've been
yeah.
playing some Final Fantasy 14,
Yeah?
and I got to the part of the game where it actually picks up. Like
Mhm.
for those that are in the know, I'm like, let's say like 5 hours into Heavensward, and the story actually picks up, and there's frequent dialogue that's also spoken by voice actors, and like the world building is much more appealing. And yeah, now I'm having fun.
So are you like with Ardbert?
What?
That's from Sesame
No.
Street, I think.
The only reason why I can like try to like pretend like I know is because Peggy, friend of the show, Owl Observer, tends to talk to me about just random. Like I'll just watch them play a bunch of like Final Fantasy sometimes, and like they'll like ramble about it, and like some of it kind of sticks. Most of it doesn't. Like I know Alpha No, at least the name. I have no idea what this character does.
That's the character there. Yeah. That's the dude I'm hanging out with most of the time.
I hear the game's good. Here, you know, things are going well on that side of the MMO world, but
also quite a few
about the
Overwatch
Cowboys.
League people playing it. I know ZP plays, Peggy, Bench, and a couple of others.
Nice.
So
The thing is Shadow Priests are so strong right now that I need to play World of Warcraft, I think. It's my time. It's my time to shine. Yeah. Joe, you're playing Tarkov, aren't you?
A little bit here and there. These last few days really haven't done much anything. It's just been like worlds and then recovery and then wake up and then try to get like a little bit of work done and then like sleep a little more and then worlds again. Just kind of like ramping up for the final, which I'm enjoying quite a lot. Yeah.
Nice.
Just a little bit of Tarkov, a little bit of what else am I doing? Not much.
First striking
Should be today,
Soon.
definitely.
Oh yeah,
Gotta check
first
in
strike
with that.
today. That's gonna be fun. Let's do this though. Let's jump into the rosters here and the roster changes because there's a lot to go through.
Right.
Take me through, which team do you guys want to start with? Give me one. Spin the wheel.
Atlanta Rain because alphabetical order.
R.
Atlanta A. I guess if you want to go team name, it would be.
All right. Atlanta Rain. Let's take a look at here. So, and this is I'm going off of our awesome Eric who has built the spreadsheet out for us. Let's talk about what is changing, what's going on with the Atlanta Rain.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Feels like
I feel
a lot.
like a lot is going on, and it's also almost like fundamentally changing as to who we perceive that team to be. Like if were a fan of Atlanta Rain throughout season 2, then on the skill side of things, Erster was probably your guy. He's gone. Of course, didn't have the anticipated impact this season. From a personality side of things, Dogman seems to be gone for now, at least. So that's the thing. For the other departures, like the one I'm most concerned with, which will be a shame, is Fire.
Oh, Fire. Really?
Yeah.
I think Erster has a very good chance of being picked up.
Oh, you mean
I think
you don't think they're going to get picked up? Okay, got it. I thought you were just talking about bad for the org.
It's going to be hard because here's the thing, right? Let's set the premise for all of these discussions, and I'm going to have an article. I wanted to have it out today, but I had to delay a little bit because we're doing it a little bit different. But like many teams will be downsizing, right?
Yep.
Now, if you think that many Overwatch League teams will only have 8 players, maybe, and that's still open for discussion, and that limit currently existing in the minds of the teams as to team building, that makes sense now. Let's wait till the shock of these AMA metrics that came back from the finals has sort of like faded, and till we see like what happens in 2021 and everything like this, and then we can reassess the situation shortly before the season. But for now, if you only can have 8 players, you are not going to double up on main support, are you?
No, yeah, definitely not.
So, like, that means you probably have 20 slots. Cut that in half because he's not going to play on a Korean team. And Anglophone main supports are actually pretty cracked if you go through the ranks, right? Like you have guys like Funny Astro, you have FD God, you got even Masa is like a good one. Like there are not that many he could be displacing. And there are a couple.
Yeah.
But there are also restrictions as to who the teams he should be playing for skill-wise can pick up. So, for instance, if we consider, like, for instance, I feel pretty secure in thinking the London Spitfire is probably not looking at Fire, right? Like, why would you take the cost when there's so much?
Probably not. At least not previously. Maybe now that he's a free agent. But I'd imagine that this has probably been in the works for a while, and you know this is coming after you've already started trials and whatnot. So and you can sneak in. I don't know. Yeah, it's tough.
You want European players, primarily, and I don't think there's a shortage of good main supports unless the league becomes very active in your part of the transfer world and is taken away. Like who could be names there? Of course, none rolls off the tongue. Yeah, but
I mean, I'm sure I would not put it past an EU contenders main support to be like the next hot thing. I don't even know if Doritro's of age, but there again, he's like kind of locked up in Boston jail.
He is about to turn 18, for instance.
Okay, so you could have somebody like him,
Right.
like a new EU main support that's coming up that they could be eyeing and looking at.
Yep.
There's definitely somebody there that could. I wouldn't. Again, she'll be here tomorrow,
Yep.
but we could definitely ask Nuki. Like,
just as a side point, it's like there's probably realistically like 5 teams that could at all look at him, and there is a large amount of main supports that could be looking. And that's not saying that like he's not the caliber there, but there's also something to be said about a player that has been sitting on the bench for a year and the skepticism that follows after that, and possibly also the deterioration of your play, moving your skill sets more towards like a supportive role where you try to assist strategically while also trying to keep your mechanics up, but you don't get big game playtime and stuff like that, right? That's I'm not saying that's an objective metric, but that's something that needs to be considered in those or in those considerations. So that is also to say, like, I feel like that guy should be playing. So
there's a home I wish I could put him on, because I think he would succeed under the coaching. But there again, I think most people would succeed under the coaching. The problem is it's just the slot isn't open. I'd love to see him on the Valiant. I think he's like a Valiant guy.
Yeah,
I think he'd work really well.
That would fit, yeah.
If for whatever reason they out Rain, maybe send him to one of these Korean super teams that are forming.
Sell him back to Mayhem.
So yeah, sell him back to Mayhem if that's the case. That'd be the highway not highway robbery, but like the heist of the century rather.
Right.
Yeah, I'd love to see him with the Valiant. I think he'd do really, really well. But yeah, definitely good enough to play. It's just, where do you put him? That's the question. It's like there's not a ton of teams kind of doing like, at least not yet, at least not like straight out for it. Maybe that. And I know everybody's going to be like, oh, no, not them. Like, boo, we hate that team. Grr, they're meanies. What about the Titans?
I don't think people hate the Titans anymore.
I think people are jaded enough to be like, oh, they're bad. Like, we don't want to see a good player go to a bad team. Boo.
Do people think that Vancouver is still a bad team?
I don't think that they think they're a good team. But
I mean, I think that they think that they're like a team that formed in the middle of the season and kind of got rolled and then started to turn on in the last couple of weeks, especially.
I'll be straight up.
I would hope that they would give them that kind of caveat, but I don't know. I think
their roster building strategy already is doomed to me.
Yeah, I'm not. I was like, hopeful for Titans, and now not so much. They kind of like jettisoned a lot of the good pieces they had.
Dude, like,
they kept the one, which is good, but
who's the one?
Shockwave's still under contract, right?
No, they have Dalton, Shredlock, and Rolf right now.
Unlucky.
Yeah,
even worse.
So, okay, just as a strategical move, I might be like missing something, but if you think that we're only going to have 8 players per team, and that's the same assumption that most of the, not richer than the Queen teams will be under, then
the Queen teams.
Is that a European idiom? Like, is that?
I just made that up.
Oh, okay,
Queen's
very
rich,
good.
Right?
Nice.
Right. So, then whatever hits the market is necessarily going to be higher quality than general. Being the case, right? Now, the benefit of the doubt here is that Flubby knows, for instance, like these are known quantities and these are the exact players, and there's nobody else that could become available that I would rather work with. Slim chance. Slim. And I don't want to name names here. Who of these 3 players are specifically like really, really questionable. But
in terms of
like there being probably 40 players I could give you that
okay.
would be better than
I got you. Yep.
right. So in that regard, like I don't understand why you have to move so quickly, especially as an org that apparently doesn't want to splash.
Yeah.
I don't understand that strategy at all.
Yeah.
What do you mean move so quickly?
Like they
Why are
were
you
quick to
signing
like
people?
re-sign them. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
why are you signing now? Or like why? Or is that because they had to because of like the contract? Like I don't know.
So there's they were say that according to the article and according to our spreadsheet, Suna and KSA and Karakar had their 2021 option declined.
Right.
Whereas
Weird.
it was exercised for Dalton, Shredlock, and Rolf, and then we know that Shockwaves wasn't a 1+1 or whatever.
Right. So he's a free agent.
So your question is then, why did the Vancouver Titans choose to exercise these options for these three players when there seems to be a lot better options out there, which I think is fair. So there's probably a few.
Do you think there will be a bidding war for a contract for any of these players
of the three
that
were kept?
Pick up their option.
If and I'm breaking out the yoga mat here and I'm stretching. I'm doing a reach. Maybe one player of the three.
Right.
A bidding war, one.
No, not bidding war. Like it's very likely. Okay,
that's just a phone call.
It's very
likely.
Are you
sure
that these dudes are on minimum contracts, right? Like or close to it, right?
Probably.
The argument could be made.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that'd be a little weird.
The argument could be made that maybe someone swoops in with 55K, and if that breaks your bank, maybe yes. But then you probably have bigger issues. Like in that case, fair dude, just survive the next season. I'm sorry that I criticized you. That's your reality. My bad. But otherwise, I don't know. Like you already threw a lot of money away by not signing Shockwave to a +1. So
yes, I think like if you're coming in with like a bare bones budget, like you do whatever you can to try and keep Shockwave on this team. Like, yes, I understand. Like there wasn't an option. You couldn't have optioned him. It is what it is. And he probably will fetch himself a pretty penny. But if you can any way to sweeten that deal, I think you try to, because the kid has a lot of promise and was going to kind of carry your organization in this league for a while.
I agree, but I have a theory. Besides the fact that I don't think that they could afford Shockwave. I really genuinely believe that the turnaround for this season is was so quick. I don't know where it is now, because originally it was going to be starting in February, right? And then now we're going back to April.
That was known behind the scenes for a while, though. I would say.
Okay.
Since the new Titans got signed?
Yeah.
Okay.
All the way.
I knew it beforehand, yeah.
Okay. Then never mind. I was just going to say, though, like, they've got half a team. They've got one DPS, one tank, one support. They've got it. They signed them up. They locked them up for minimums. They're a known quantity. They're working together. They're not going to get, kneecapped if they're running into trying to fill the rest of the roster by, at the time, what felt like could have been February. But Yiska's thrown that out.
I'll just say this, right? I understand you want Canadians. That makes sense, right?
I guess.
Do you not at least try to say good day to Crimzo before you sign Rolf? Maybe they did. But, like, is that really? I don't know.
If he's again, I think Crimzo probably deserves a starting position. There's, again, where do you put him? There's not a whole lot of, homes to kind of fit.
Oh, he will find home. He will find home.
I think he has all of the potential in the world to do that. I just worry about like the homes to find, right? maybe this is like if for whatever reason something falls through and he is a free agent going into, you know, roster lock deadline, I could see maybe Titans. No, because then you still have to. Yeah, I don't know. Titans. Yeah, it's weird to me. So this is my thing with John, and I think I know kind of maybe where he was going, or maybe I'm hijacking a little bit. I understand like optioning them. Maybe they have intangibles. Maybe they have, you know, good team cohesion so far. And this is a core that you want to build around. Okay, fine. If not, and these aren't like just like lock pieces, I think you could do better for the same money. I think there's like enough players and contenders that are like willing to like just give me a chance. Like I'll take a league minimum and try to flip it next season. That probably do the same, if not better. And that's where I'm like, yeah, it feels a little hasty. I'm leaning more towards, and I've definitely been on the Flubby hype train. So I trust in that sense where it's like, okay, you have like at least like a semi-proven track record. I'm interested to see what this looks like. I will say I'm a little disappointed that some of these players are gone. I think Suna has a lot of promise. Karkar definitely could be on another team. Probably should be, but there again.
Do you think any of these were like thank yous or attaboys for coming in last minute and kind of weathering the Vancouver Titans storms? I tell you what, if you want to, we'll pay you minimum. We'll make sure you play in the league next year.
I'd hope not.
I'd hope not too. I don't even know if he can do that. I've wheeled and dealed in the past before. I've, you know, been pitched a lot of obscure things, and I've pitched a lot of obscure things. Like to me though, this doesn't feel like just a straight up, all right, which three do we want to keep? 1, 2, 3. Great, makes total sense. We're gonna build around these guys and go. This feels very much like there's some auxiliary information.
Yes. Whatever it is
around there that leaves it, and that's I feel bad because these are people, but 100%. You know, when we're talking about roster movements, and at the end 100%. Of the day, they represent a dollar amount and a stat line when it comes to reviewing rosters in a lot of ways.
It's also, you got to keep in mind, like whatever job they have, someone else could be having. So in that sense, like there's the value that you deny is not yet, like you're not evaporating it. You're just saying maybe you could have had more value there, and therefore the product of the Overwatch League would have been better. We would all enjoy it more, and
then maybe somebody else has a job in 5 years.
Right.
And they do, you know, again, they do have one of each piece here. So they aren't locked into...
It's a core.
It's a core. Right. It's also a backup core, like something that you've got these pieces that are just kind of, they're there. They're fine. They played together last year. We, you know, aren't going to be totally lost on the synergy bucket, and we aren't going to be starting from scratch with a few months to go in the middle of a pandemic. So there's
like if the Titans become like the wayward home of like contenders players for league minimum, and they just go wide but cheap, I'm here for it. I definitely wouldn't expect that.
Yeah.
But if they, you know, okay, we like these guys, like you're saying, like they have some synergy, but we also want to like scoop up all the other, like, you know, misfits from all the other regions that, you know, still want to play, have played, have a proven track record, bring them in, and you just try to cobble something together again, I guess. But I really don't know that that's what's happening.
I mean, isn't that the story of this whole roster, though? Don't know.
Unfortunately, it is. I just hope that they don't want to recreate it. They're like, you know what?
Enough.
Last season, I think we hit it. Yeah, we just want to like constantly.
We got the right
chaos.
Pieces in the middle to the end of the season, and we're gonna move.
We actually
forward.
like making things harder for us. I don't know.
Yeah, having the best players in the world and run away on the roster was just it's not
just
really
too easy.
It's just not for us.
It's too easy.
I mean, obviously it wasn't easy at all. No. But it's,
by the way, you know what was very easy? To go from alphabetical order from A to V within 5 seconds.
Hey, it's a tree. It's a tree. You know, there's branches and leaves, and you know sometimes those branches touch. You know,
I think we just talk about the ones that have movements right now. It doesn't matter. We don't
It
have to go
feels
in
more
slow
like
way.
a mycelium, mycelium or whatever it's called.
yeah.
I'm
Fungus.
gonna really throw you for a loop then.
Okay, where are we headed next?
Let's go to San Francisco.
Ooh. Well, here we are.
So here's what we do know.
What a ride.
Ons, Striker, Tayo, Smurf, Choyobin, Twilight are back.
Pog. You like that?
Rascal
Is out.
He's out.
Dude. Yo, shout out to Reinforce.
Yeah.
Tweet yesterday. Absolute fire. What you can do with like just a few edits, good piece of music.
Yeah.
Perfect. Lovely. Yeah, it again. And I feel like I have I'm going to have to reiterate this for like the coming weeks or the coming months, depending on when this league decides it wants to start. There's a lot of roster moves more than likely happening and have happened and will be happening that are not performance based. I do not think Shock wants to part ways with Rascal. I think they have to for whatever reason, whether it's a budget, whether it's he's looking to leave. You don't think so?
Yeah, I know. I think Krusty on some occasions has let slips through that he's not necessarily a player that he wants to have. In the sense like maybe it's just irony I didn't get, right?
Okay.
But there were like answers like
do the dishes. Wasn't Rascal the do the dishes one?
Do the equivalent of do the dishes, and Rascal's the one that throws them in the corner and says we get new ones, basically. Like basically not executing the vision. That's what I took away from it. I think it was some AMA or something where he spoke candidly about it. Maybe it's just an ironic thing and it's like a teasing type of thing.
Could be. I mean, I wouldn't put it past.
I also have the O-tone in mind that Krusty said something about Tayo just like wait what I will be able to do with this kid.
100%.
I think he already has the flex DPS heir to the throne set up.
Sure.
It's also peculiar how little Rascal played, I feel like, for the caliber of player he was, especially in the Genji meta.
I mean, he did play.
Yeah.
He didn't play as much as we would have assumed. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like when it mattered, when you could no longer avoid it, basically.
And then they put him in with no practice and then they won anyways because
he's cracked. Yeah.
Still.
So yeah. I don't know. That kid is a kingmaker. Yeah. Like, yes, you can talk about like others having more accolades. Every team that he seemingly touches eventually wins a championship.
Not a championship.
Okay.
It's
I feel
more like a champion expensive. But yeah,
at this point, you're probably going to be paying out the wazoo.
Champion cha-ching. Yeah.
I think we probably need to give a little bit of gap to like what we consider touching. London Spitfire, Dallas Fuel come to mind. We touch them, but
right. Okay, not that.
Granted, one of them did win. The other historically has been a gigantic disappointment. But yeah, Rascal. I've got a piece coming out this week that I think is an interesting look at his career. At least I want it to be. And yeah, definitely one of the. I was swayed by Reinforce's passionate argument of what this player really has done for the game, and the pillar that he kind of is, but we've never really like paid attention to. I think we love him and he's very lovable. Give me DPS, give me the brush. All of these like memorable little iconic quotes, but when you look at his career and you look at like what this game demands of you, and will probably continue to demand of you. Is there really another player? Or there are players, but there are not many players that can kind of compete with the Rascal's pedigree. It's like, why don't we celebrate him? Why don't we big him up like we do some of these other players? It's very peculiar. So I've definitely come into Camp Rascal banging the drum. So
yeah. And I think we might be thinking a little bit different of him if the metas were reverse ordered this season, with like May, Echo being played towards the later ends. Then we wouldn't have, the good old recency bias about his playtime. But I think generally, like I wrote also on Twitter, like I feel like I would love to see a Rascal character development arc where he just takes leadership of a team like Toronto, maybe like Houston, maybe like Spark. I don't know. Spark is weird because of Architect, but whatever. Like these teams that still need to win one, and lead them, and also plays as a starter for the majority of the year, and see where you can take them. I think that would be the logical conclusion after his recent successes, because like he was on the shock for 2 years, and then for the later championship, he didn't contribute much on the server. So I think like if he has it in himself to still want to pursue this game, and there are apparently some doubts to it based on what he has said on the stream.
Dude, you can't. Hoxel's already gone. Please, my heart cannot take anymore.
Like, Rip Joe's heart out. Let's do it. Rip Joe's heart out. Rip Joe's heart out.
Dude. I'm not too much of a man to say that, like, while working, I see that news and I'm like, bro. And I definitely teared up. I was like, fuck.
Yeah. Dude, Overwatch is, why Overwatch is struggling in essence? Because it is actually the most aligned esports with our troubling times out of all of them. Yes. Like when real life is really like in the upside down world and everything seemingly changes, and like we're at odds against each other and whatnot, and all you want is for your pastime to provide some stability, something you can attach to that is somewhat constant. Nope. Overwatch game changes. Overwatch teams change. The best players that you might have attached to, because, like, I mean, bless your soul, you think that the best players would also be around for the longest time. Not in this esport.
Not in this game.
It is like the wild out there. It mirrors real life too well.
Too much. Yeah.
And
it's too real.
That's like, there's no escape in Overwatch. Like, it is written by George R.R. Martin. Like, we are killing main characters at a higher speed than the Red Wedding. It's unreal. Like, I don't know, dude.
It was a 15-minute scene.
I mean, to be fair, like, doesn't one of them come back as like some like badass like mute assassin type character? One of like the mothers. I don't know. I watched the video. Oh yeah. Well,
there's books.
Only in the books.
There's books. I thought this was a movie. No, I do think there is a selfish part of me that is like, no, please, like, you can't go. And then you go back to the wild, right? And you go back to real life and you're like, these are people. And if you're not in it and your heart's not in it, I'd want the best for you. I want you to leave if you're not gung ho anymore. Leave on top. 2 titles. Best team ever. Probably we will ever see. And I'm not taking that back. I truly believe we will probably never see another team like the 2019, 2020 shock. That coalescence of talent. It's going to take a Herculean sized paycheck to kind of reassemble that kind of talent in the future with that coaching staff, with those
And
players.
even
It's
then,
not going to happen.
Once a team has won in the manner that they have won it, it's really difficult to create the right team environment and focus and everything else to actually get those results again. We've seen it time after time, especially with teams that have players that play at such a high level. It's why we talk about the 90s Bulls like we do, because it is incredibly rare to have that talented of a team on the court for that long and to put up the results that they did as consistently as they did. Whereas much more often now these days is that you have strong supporting casts with a couple of superstars and you call it a day. You can create around that. The superstars make the rest of the team better. You create these new pieces, and then your front office and your coaches are designed about how do you make those pieces work together. I'm not convinced. Well, I mean, I would say this year I would be probably pretty convinced that I think the Shot could do it again, just on sheer force of will. But I'm not convinced that it would feel the same as it did this last year.
Oh, yeah. It's that this, depending on what kind of format we go forward with. Yeah, I really do think like that they have had the hardest path. They have consistently performed even through adversity, even through their own, turmoil and whatnot. Yeah, just you've witnessed history. I don't know. And for Rascal to be a part of that, and then, maybe need to take a break. And I saw it in chat, and I agree. Like, retirement for these players isn't forever. The one thing that we can kind of hold as a through line throughout the years has been that Overwatch is a unique experience. There's really nothing like it.
3 years and you never want to come back. It is pretty unique, yeah. Yeah,
well, there's ways in which we supplement that, but it's we often, I think we will, and we're starting to see that some of the old heads want to come back. Depends on if they land and if they're keeping up with the younger generation, but this is a game that you really can't recreate. There's no other game that kind of like scratches that same itch. So if you at one time said that you loved this game, you'll probably come back to it. Whether or not you're going to be of the same caliber, that remains to be seen, but it's special. So if there is some validity to the stirrings that maybe Rascal wants to put it up for a while, maybe he'll be back. Maybe this isn't goodbye forever, right? So we will see.
Sweet Joe,
it's sad to
just
see.
holding on to, he's on the edge of a cliff. He's on that last root and it's falling out. And he goes, maybe you'll be back. Maybe you'll come back.
Guys. Jordan played baseball for a season, right? He can still come back, right?
He could do it. You could argue it was baseball that made him come back. So we've also got, the Rascal isn't the only one leaving, or at least on an expired contract right now. Super is also on an expired contract, as far as I understand.
Right.
Do we know anything about this? I am purely going by the spreadsheet here, so there might be some news out there that's just like, oh yeah, Is Super also on the chopping block? Is he gone for the next year, you think?
They expertly somehow made this to be not a big deal at all. When the Moth news dropped, in my mind, I was like, oh my God, they don't know yet, dude. But I think it's because of the strong assumption that the Shock wouldn't let someone like that go, and they will want to provide another contract. Now, please consider the following, and this is not at all about juice, anything like that's going to be on behind the scenes. Ready. But please consider that Super could very, very likely make more money streaming than being on an Overwatch League team. Like, I'm pretty sure he's already above 6K subs, something like that.
Okay, so that's $15,000 a month times 0.65. So it's like, we'll just say $9,500 a month.
Right. What was the multiplier you used?
I just used 2.5. I used 3
Yeah, I think. Yeah, okay. I mean, it depends.
out of
what
the
kind
$5 sub. They
contract.
get 3 of those
Mhm.
$5.
Right. Yeah.
And
Overwatch
you're
League
looking
players
at, like-
have a higher share, but of course, it's. I'm not sure if. Anyway, but that's also not streaming full time, and he pretty much has been in the circles of the guys that would be blowing up. I think the growth would be there.
Mhm.
So that's the thing. And you kinda need to make a good offer. And we
Is-
kind of, as esport, need to figure out how to keep people playing the esport. Sorry, do you have like any other?
He's
Information
averaging
there?
3,200
Yes.
average viewers currently.
Right.
So what he's saying is that like it's a career path if he so chose to, like, you know, is burnt out of the game, maybe practice is a little too much. Like, if he was to do it full time, do you think that like sizable growth could come from a personality like Super? Yeah,
don't think so.
I'm on that other side.
I don't think so. Nothing against Super.
Yeah.
I think Super makes Overwatch, and I think Overwatch makes Super, and I don't think that Overwatch has a strong enough streamer economy for him to go full time and be.
That's the thing. I don't
Yeah,
think
but-
he'd be playing Overwatch.
Yeah,
And
he's
that's
been
the-
playing
so-
half
yeah,
like
so
Minecraft.
I totally agree. And
Yeah.
so then
Right.
the thing is, he would go somewhere else, and I think that I know a lot of people who are big fans of Super who would follow them anywhere, and your opinion is noted in the book. But I don't actually think it's that universal. I think you could absolutely make a living, and even a great living, because that doesn't include sponsorship dollars. That doesn't include
Yeah.
any gigs that he takes up casting games or things like
Sure.
that. I think he'd probably be a pretty great analyst or color caster
100%.
on stuff. Like, there's still there. He could still make a lot of money, but I don't know if that he would make, especially with the fact that he's got Genji in his back pocket. I don't think that would. I don't think that he would make as much as he would be, being a pro right now.
But we
Housing
can agree.
paid
We
for.
can agree that it's a career path if he wanted to.
Housing paid for, health insurance paid
Okay.
for.
Yeah.
Food oftentimes paid for. Those add up.
Yeah. So, like like Zoot in chat. That's the point I would have
Suede.
gotten to. And Suede, is it? Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Yes. With the scum situation, of course, like we're talking about 2 magnitudes different, dude. Like, we're talking 2.1 million Twitter followers, like Mr. Call of Duty, like gaming household name, Scum,
Mhm.
right? So that's a little bit of a different story, but somehow still NRG makes it work for Scum. And that should give us like some confidence that the shock will be able to hold
Oh,
this.
this is
What are you looking
interesting.
at?
Agape just signed by the San Francisco Shock 1 minute ago. Breaking
Yeah.
news.
Not where I was expecting him to go, but I'm not mad at it.
That's
Not mad at it at all.
okay. Wow. Yeah, I don't know.
And then Casorius was promoted to assistant coach.
Yes.
Right.
That was 2 hours ago.
Dude, is he really going to do it again?
Agape?
Is
Cool.
No, Krusty. Like,
Hmm.
Casaurus, definitely like a good Western fit. Good mind for the game. Good head on his shoulders. Agape, proven track record. What, you want like
Yeah.
one more? And then put him around this team? Is the three-peat like real?
Yeah. I like it's
It
so
could
hard to
be.
know anything, right?
It's tough, right? Like, of course, this is all
About
like
the
just
quality
like
of those coaches.
sure. Again,
Oh.
just little bit. It's
Yeah. I mean, they had to sort of fill up. Not sure how
Oh,
much
100%.
more, but it's also smart to get them in early
Mhm.
because
help build
like,
out whatever team is left.
yeah, all like coaching being the ones to okay, so for one, and we will eventually have to talk about this as well.
I think I know where you're headed.
Coaches like are discardable. Just like they are throwaway, like lost, like their contracts aren't under the same protections that players are under.
Sure.
Right.
Right.
So
contract wise,
the commitment, of course, now it also kind of changes because like we also have these 30-day contracts or whatever. So this is a little bit different maybe next season, but beforehand, like you could pick up coaches as you wanted and then get rid of them as you wanted, right? Like there was no legal limitation what you could be doing with them. So then again, you should be signing coaches first. I think that's that. Like there, don't pin me to mean that I criticized Vancouver for going early with the players and then having the. By the way, I hope they are selling on short contracts for the sake of Vancouver. Anyway, and if that's the case, then
maybe they have an out.
Of course, that criticism is less strong so in that way. But getting coaches in gives coaches more time to build the roster for you, to mend the players that they want to have in these specific positions. And now they have half a year to get a squad ready. So I kind of like that. What are you eyeing at? Why are you smiling? Were you juiced up?
No.
Or, okay.
My mind is racing with what Agape could mean.
Who would come? Oh no, he's already at Ducks again. He's already at Ducks again.
Can you imagine the euphoria? Now, let me not.
Oh, I know where you're going. Oh no, yes, do it now.
Do you put Glister on this team?
Glister!
Dude, come on. Dude. He's going to do it again.
Oh my God.
He's going to do it again.
Does that even make sense? Nah, they have 2 minutes. They have too much hit scan, dude. They have too much, dude.
No.
Strike and ons. You can't. You can't,
dude.
Need
to break once in a while. You know, too many mouses.
Who?
Striker. Whatever.
He just became Finals MVP.
Sure. Maybe he wants a break. Maybe he needs to, chill for a little bit. Maybe, wants to, sit back. Dude. Maybe play half a season.
Joe is currently in the mode where when your mom tells you can have 2 cookies and like she comes into the kitchen 15 minutes later and there's out of 17 cookies, there's 0 left. He just wants
Tell me you don't want to see Glister succeed.
Of course I want to, but like.
So shut up.
I don't know. I think my more.
Pog.
You know where you should land, and that will make much more sense. But Philly.
Come on, if you're gonna criticize Shock for having too many, like you really gonna put him there?
I think you put him in second behind Carpe and let Yiska go to start somewhere.
I've got plans for Philly. You gotta see the Friends reunion. You gotta have Carpe DM. You get the branding. You make some shirts. Come on, it's right in front of you.
Get
you're
out
just leaving money on the table.
You're corny. That's corny.
You know what's corny?
What?
T-shirt sales. That's corny. You know what's corny? Butts in seats. That's corny.
Yeah.
People love that shit.
Bro, I'm gonna say it now. I bet you money that we see very few, if any, live events.
Next season.
Next season. So
yeah,
probably not.
Yeah. With the way the world is afloat.
I mean, some are plans, but yeah, like
we'll see.
Or at least we're suggested if possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree that they are like unlikely to happen. Actually. Yeah.
So butts and seats, less
future.
So.
Maybe in the future. I don't know.
Even t-shirt sales, you might be a little niche there. You might be a little niche. You need better storytellers on these franchise content teams. You really
for sure.
do.
I mean, that goes without a doubt.
If you can't tell that story, make it valuable and relatable. I don't know if you could actually sell. Like, I mean, I don't know if you could sell 500 t-shirts, let alone the 5,000 that you would actually be wanting to sell to
Right.
really justify the signing to begin with.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah. I think Agape.
I'm just going to talk about teams marketing. All these roster stuff, I'm just going to be like, how's this going to impact marketing and content?
I'm an esports aesthetic, so I kind of like let's play under the bridge and just have some electricity there, and we're good.
Yeah. I'm excited for Shock with Agape. Sad to see Rascal go. I did want to make this point before we move off Shock. You know where I think Rascal would be an interesting but perfect fit? The Charge. Team willing to pay. He's bilingual.
Mhm.
They are a global team.
Right.
Looking for some players.
Right.
Potentially more.
Mhm.
If he still's got it, I think he could catch a bag in China, do incredibly well there.
Yeah.
I think he could be a core piece.
I think that could work, yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I also don't know what the charge will look like.
100%. And this is where I go back to Agape, because I thought Agape Pavane, this was kind of planted in my head in some talks that I was having with other people, that possibly, well, not possibly, but like they had thought like, oh, Charge is going to go for a title. They're going to get these coaches. They'll build out the team, and then they're going to like pay out. They're going to splash out big, and they're going to build like a super team for China.
No.
I'm a little worried about that at this point. And I kind of still am.
Like we know the head coach, right? And I don't think it's like we two know the head coach.
I mean, I know. Whatever.
And that doesn't communicate what the vision that you're having to me.
Sure. Yeah.
So we'll see. Don't say it out loud, please.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't jump off the page, but it's not like bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, Charge is a little weird. I think like it would be an interesting fit if he wanted to play, if they wanted to pay him. Yeah, but Shock, I don't know. Stocks might not even go down in the offseason. They might just like float and then go up with what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Where is Pavane going? I don't know. Answer Life. I could not tell you.
Which team do we
Yeah,
want
I
to
don't
go to
know that.
next? What's the team that had a lot going on? Did Fuel?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. Did they? Yeah, we could definitely talk about Fuel jettisoning their entire roster and
Look at
Making
those
the-
Fuel. That tank is empty. Or the tank is filled with possibility.
I think it's full of winds.
You think so?
I think the wind generator has been fueled finally, and it just needs to be lit. Who's going to be the match paper? I think they've signed a few match paper players, and yeah.
All right, talk
This
us
is
through.
a
Talk
win.
us through who they've signed and the changes they made.
So everybody you know, they're gone. Frenchie's gone. Closer. Did you? I mean, honestly, Chad, do you remember that Closer was still on this team? Be honest with me. I don't think you do, but he's gone. Trill, I think he retired. No, gone. Paintbrush, gone. Crimzo deserves another, chance to be on a team. Definitely think he's good enough. He's gone. Only God. Pleasant surprise in the midseason. I thought he had a fantastic showing, even with the ping. He's gone too.
Right.
Like should be on a home. Should be on a team.
Right.
Somebody had created the meme where it's like it's like a portmanteau of Element Mystic and Dallas Fuel. They made like a makeshift name. It was quite succinct and apt, because it just looks like they're signing all the Element Mystic players.
For now, we are just in the Dallas Mystic state, because
Sure,
there's a lot that still could be going wrong here.
could be.
Like,
Could be.
I think even if you fill up with pretty promising Western talent, that is probably a problem. I think.
I mean, possibly. Like I know where your head's at, but it's like
I think that's a problem, dude. I don't think he can. I think it's all the other guy.
possibly. It
I
very well could
heard
be.
nobody even talked once to that other guy.
Oh, really?
So, like,
Oh man.
so like we gotta figure out like what where.
Yeah.
So this roster needs to be filled up. Like, and it better not be disappointing, dude.
You can't.
You
No,
can't mess.
You can't.
You can't mess it up now. Like,
It's so
This is-
you gotta try. That has to be like an active attempt.
you gotta sink your life savings into this now. You're committed, dude. Like, if you fail this, it's over, bro.
I don't even think you need to go that like big. With
By the
it.
way,
Like,
you guys aren't allowed to do this like teasing
Hey, I
shit
did
anymore. One
I
more
didn't.
time, and like I'm closing the call on you.
Right. I'm sorry.
It's. I don't
Say it
think.
or don't. Okay.
I
Because now
don't-
Chad is just pissed. Now that's all I can focus on.
That's okay. They'll get over it. I think you could still build out this team the right way and not splash too hard. I still think it would be a big sigh of relief for your organization if you're looking for like wins. It might not be as much wins or as many wins as you want, but I it's hard for me to like really see this go completely bottom up. Like it's
Yeah. So I think this team
Said that about
has
season 1 Phil, too?
definitive top 5 potential.
it's
I think where it's heading is unlikely to be a season winner.
but do you need to be a season winner?
No, I'm just saying.
Sure. I mean, as long as you're just kind of gauging expectations, yeah, maybe not a season winner, but this is like a big revitalization for a franchise
Right.
that has been promised to be good year on year on year.
Right.
Maybe not year 3, but at least had promise and kaput every year. This year feels different. I'm interested, with their beat writer coming out and saying that he's writing a piece about who's actually building this team. I'm interested to see that. I think that will give a lot of clarity and maybe build some trust that they're going hands off. They're saying, hey, you're the coaches, build the team. Maybe not. Well, it's kind of remains to be seen. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. They've made enough changes that I'm like, okay. And you've made some good changes. Okay. Like this, like the Dallas Mystics, right? Like, I'm about this. This is a good team so far. I agree. You have to finish it at some point. And
The thing is, do we need to be cryptic about like who's like if the answer is anything but the Korean coaching staff is going to build a Korean team, I am up the wall, dude. I'll be Spider Bro in the corner of the room. Like,
I said that last year with Paris, and I thought people were surprised that was even a thing. That I'm like, this is a fully Korean coaching staff, and you're telling me that they're going to keep a bunch of French players. No, of course not. Weird things happen, right?
right,
And
but like
Lo and
it's
behold,
still-
they're good.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's weird. It doesn't make much sense across esports history, but hey, it worked. It did well. It's weird to see Paris just go, we did have a good season, didn't have a good playoffs, to be fair, but season wide, definitely consistent top 5 team, got upset because of a patch, and everybody goes.
Right.
It's a little weird, bizarre to me. But yeah, it would be surprising to see this fuel roster be filled out with consistent duds. Like, if we were going to keep it at an 8 minimum, and you've already got 3 to 4 players, and you're telling me 4 more duds. It's possible, but I'm come on.
They're getting the rest of the Titans.
Yeah, right. The Dallas Fuel welcome Karkar. Even though I like Karkar, I think he's great. Not for this team though.
I'll also say there are definitely other teams that I expect to be leveling up heavily, and like whatever Dallas is doing needs to be judged against that.
Sure.
So
I agree. That's a power ranking thing. I think that
Right.
conversation will be had, but in a vacuum so far, I think they're doing the right thing.
I mean, there's no way to say what happened is a negative development for the Dallas Fuel. This is all pretty insane.
So would you
honest.
say you're
Like,
cautiously optimistic?
yes?
Okay.
Yes.
I think I would agree. I'm a little bit more optimistic than cautious, but still an era of like, okay, you do have to finish this team at some point. What does that look like? Do you muck it up again? I think it's pretty hard to, but I guess you could. We'll wait and see.
Do you believe that Dallas aren't one of the most revenue generating franchises in the league? Not profit, not profit,
yeah,
revenue.
not money. Yeah,
I think
I've got to assume.
As far as I understand it, they're like a top 4-ish franchise as far as just revenue generation.
And also, I'll tell you, I have no idea how that stacks up against the Chinese organizations in season 3.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. It's really difficult in season 3 with the Asia orgs, especially the Chinese ones. But my understanding of, and from what I can kind of glean and learn from, is that this is like a top 4 revenue generating team. Their previous roster, though, is, as I understand it, pretty expensive. And so as far as like actual profit generation, if any, I don't know what that looks like, but compared to other teams, wasn't super great, which is a big reason why, on top of just straight up just not having the contracts anymore and getting everybody out. Like a part of that was to even that. This will be one of the first real tests if people continue to stay loyal to a team based off of the franchise name and location versus the players. This is one of the first real. I'm trying to think of who else.
Yeah.
Roster
I'll tell you,
wise,
I think it's a big one for sure.
I'll tell you straight up, Sparkle's personality in the Dallas studios could be
I think that'll
great.
just print you money.
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
Are you guys talking about season 1 London? Issue with season 1 London is it was the only European team. It's just, it's definitely very different, and they bought a Korean roster. So the Dallas Fuel were viewed a lot differently in the United States, having Western players. Not totally, and I think for Overwatch fans, like more endemic, like esports fans, I don't think it mattered as much. But I think for new fans, it definitely did.
Right. Yeah,
it's a big shift.
We'll see.
It is a big move, which again I think is good. I think it definitely allows them to do a lot. Depends on if they do it.
Florida is a great example. They transitioned much more slowly. And I would say they performed poorly at the bottom for so long that, again, it's a little bit, this is like the first time where we've seen a relatively, despite the results, relatively beloved franchise and roster. I stand by this. I think the Gladiators are probably the second closest that I would say, and that's almost completely off of Big Goose and Chaz. Those two people being that kind of core piece.
Yeah.
This is the first time where we've kind of just seen blank slate on a relatively successful, on a marketing side, franchise. So that's all we're saying here. But yeah, it's really interesting. I'd be really interested to see how many people stay fans
Yeah.
Of NYX. Like, I don't know. Like, for me, if like NYXL, like, you know, as we transition away from all that, like, I've got 2 NYXL jerseys and a pair of the sweatpants and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know if I'm looking to buy those again unless they bring in like players I like. But Dallas hasn't really had as many of those types of fans. They've had a lot more like.
I think they grow, if anything. I don't like.
Yeah, it was just an example. Like, imagine NYX all of a sudden, boom, everyone's done. We kept 3 players and then we kept 1 player and we signed 2 pretty good ones and they're going to be good next year. It's going to be a totally different NYXL team. How would people do that? Or how would people deal with that? What would that do to NYXL's base?
Yeah. Fuel. We'll see what the rest of 2020 looks like for you. See what you look like in the new year, because so far, so good. We'll see. We'll see.
Black says, I tend to avoid buying player merch, just buy team merch and call it a day. Definitely don't buy coach merch.
Yeah, that is a gamble. That is playing.
That is actually a concern I hadn't considered yet. Like, am I really buying a player jersey if my player's in a 60-day contract?
Why not?
Yeah, no, I don't think you are.
I don't see why it matters.
Okay, I feel like I'm in the middle of like devil and angel, and they're both sitting on my shoulders. You have diametrically opposed opinions. Please discuss amongst each other.
So here's what you do. Number 1, you create jerseys, Velcro on the back, no number, slap it on.
like army uniforms.
Yeah, exactly. Slap it on, negotiator on the front. So besides that, so I don't know, number 1, if how fulfillment works through Fanatics is I believe that they're all technically custom jerseys. So the only difference between having Volamel on the Dallas Fuel jersey and Doha is just that they have one preloaded one, but there's no actual machinery or tooling or saved pigments or anything that would change that. Meaning, the only change needed to happen is to actually update the physical storefront with the player branded merch.
Mm-hmm.
However, on a 30-day contract, I don't think the team does that because you can just go in and create your custom jersey, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you just go in and create the custom jersey. You don't put a storefront out there for a player for a team that isn't going to have that player in 30 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say they don't do that. I think the support still holds true no matter what team they're on. If you have a Curry Shot jersey or a Decay jersey or a Rascal jersey from the London Spitfire, I don't know. Maybe that's just my viewpoint. Maybe we just differ in that way where it's just like, yeah, I support Rascal. I just happened to support him when he was on the London Spitfire and decided to buy it. Like, it's still a Rascal jersey. I don't know.
It's interesting because if like on a full contract, I totally agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Just like there aren't coaches jerseys, but I made one.
Sure.
You know, but when you're talking about a 30-day thing, I don't know if that's.
If my favorite player gets signed to a 30-day contract and I have the ability, or if I just even, like you're saying, if I just want to create a custom jersey, why not?
Creating a custom jersey, there's nothing stopping you right now. You can go buy a Dallas Fuel Rascal jersey right now.
Right,
Joe,
but then it's
why not vote for a
yeah.
third party in the United States? Because nobody wants to be part of the loser. That's the reason why. Like, you don't want to be the person with the L on the back.
Who's losing here, though?
It's not.
That's
The guy that doesn't
Nobody's
have a jersey
losing.
that connects to the brands they're supporting.
But I'm not supporting a brand. I'm supporting a player.
Then take a white T-shirt and let the player sign. Like,
hey, I
They
agree.
should just do Overwatch
One is a little
League
bit easier
jerseys.
than
They
the other.
just do Overwatch League on the front and then your player name on the back. Yeah. No, I don't think it works well. I think that there's nothing stopping you from custom ordering it now, but I think that teams would deal with more backlash with, I bought this jersey for this person that you signed, and I'm a casual
Yeah.
fan,
No,
and it
I
doesn't
agree.
say 30 days on it, and now I have this
Yeah, I
Rascal
don't think
Dallas
they'll do
Fuel
that.
jersey that he only played there for 30 days.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that they would make player jerseys if they're signed to 30 days. So you'd have to be signed for a little bit more.
Yiska, if you ever bring up
To warrant
American
it.
politics within 2 weeks of an American election ever again,
Yeah, probably not a good look.
This man
Did
doesn't
vote,
want to
though.
lose.
Did vote.
You can tell. You
Go
can
vote,
tell.
guys.
oh man.
Go vote. Anywho, next team. Next team. Here we go. All right.
I hope the algorithm doesn't sweep that and put political ads on our YouTube now.
Yeah, right. Justice had a couple moves, right? Justice had a few moves, right?
Yeah, let's go to the Justice. Why not?
Couple announcements made.
Yep.
Thought
So
they're pretty.
what we know right now here, who is renewed for 2021, Shuba and
Mhm.
Decay. And then brought on a third one who I'm assuming you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
I'm a little surprised that they kept Tuba. Do I think he did
Mhm.
well at the end of the season? Sure. Workhorse had a few metas really fall into his lap. With the money you seem to be, or at least maybe I'm reading into this too much. If you're re-signing Decay, which to be fair, is that a re-sign or is that an option? Did they give him a new contract or did they option him? Because I don't think he could have an option, right?
The
Who?
contract article
they can't.
status says existing contract expiring. So I believe it was expired.
So it's
at
a
the end of
new
this-
contract. I got to assume you've got some money to toss around. And with signing Mag as your leading front man, easily, we've been saying this for a while now, one of the hottest free agents on the market, quick to move, which is surprising. But if you put some money in front of him and you give him a nice deal, maybe he's willing to move. So it's a little surprising to me to see Tuba come back if you have that kind of money. Feel like you could do a little bit more, but there again, maybe it's a value where it's like, okay, maybe you ride the bench, maybe you're just kind of a substitute when there is those specific metas that you can excel at, and maybe they're going to make another DPS signing on that. Decay, that's a no-brainer, guys. Come on, like, have you seen the last, at least 12 months? But if you really in the know, like, he's been a stud for what it feels like 2 years now. Mag, like, there's only one other main tank that I think is on the market. Well, I don't even know if he's on the market. And that's Muse, who I think like could fetch like a pretty penny.
Right.
I think Yakpung like could go somewhere, but there's not too many more. And again, I'll keep banging this drum. I'll get back up on my podium. Like, you need a tank bullpen. This is a role that you need to have a good player in.
Yeah.
Mag is a good player.
Yeah. Like their transfer moves actually have me pretty excited about this team.
Yeah.
Because
in
I
a weird
think
way.
they now got the dominoes rolling where it's like
Mhm.
you already got Mac and DK.
That's
got
a great start.
like that is also a talent attractor. This is a team where you at the very least will be beloved by the fans of the Justice, because whatever you're doing, you're going to finish better than what the team did last year, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So like the bottom core line is pretty sweet here.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the fact that they got these signings suggests that they either concentrated on a few pickups or that they actually are like going hard in the transfer market next year. So everything they're doing currently has me think like this franchise is on the up. Like, I think Pre is doing a great job. Like just like almost educating the public on the behind, and they did need a PR lift. Let's be honest. This team most definitely needed one after the first.
He's gotten out in front of it and is, on the ground floor, just hammering nails, putting this thing back together. And there are things that I disagree fundamentally with him on. And this goes back to even last season with the travel comment and, keeping it slim. Ideologically feels like we're opposing, but you can't ignore what he's doing. It's good. It's good for the Justice.
The interesting part, because I heard him say that he thinks that substitutes, given the leagues, like the hero pools and everything, is going to be more important, and like the development towards less players makes less sense to him. What that means for the Justice, we will have to see. And maybe, like, sometimes, and I don't want to, like, I'm sure he's able to sort of keep it close to the chest. But other GMs in the past, or like coaches, have communicated something that's on their mind as these decisions are being made. So what I mean is something like, so I had this discussion with someone that has to approve my budget. I want a big roster. We're currently in the process of figuring it out. My point of view is this. Not sure yet what's going to be the case for us. That's also very possible. The thing is, his willingness or his appreciation for bigger rosters is interesting in regards to this, because currently it looks like the budget that we generally assign to the Justice seems to be pinpointed towards like these two, like one proven amazing player and one of the most highly sought after free agents in the.
I agree. I think that is an avenue. I just don't know if I would be willing to put my money on that right now. I think we could see them add another player that could be very expensive, right? Like maybe this isn't the only two players.
Right. Yeah. You
understand what I'm saying? Like, it's not just the end all be all, like, we've blown our budget, now we're trying to fill it out. Like, okay, we've got some money to still throw around. Like, I'm gonna get this guy, here's a blank check.
I'll also give you a little bit of insight. This positive attitude towards them, like, from behind the scenes, the fact that they were able to secure these players doesn't make sense to someone that lives in May of this year, or maybe earlier, right? Like, that's not the reputation generally that players had towards that organization. They somehow managed to turn not just their outwards PR, but also the appreciation that players have towards that organization. Mm-hmm. And that's a really hard thing to do. It takes PR maneuvers on the front end and the back end. It takes a new wind. Maybe a lot of people behind the scenes also have an appreciation or a belief in whatever Supreme can bring to the table. This development has me very excited about this team, basically.
Yep. I'm pleasantly surprised. I didn't know that I was going to be rooting for the Justice, but in a weird way, they doing it big, doing it very, very big. So exciting to see, again, one of the hottest free agents probably on the market. And this has been what feels like for at least a year. Granted, he wasn't eligible to play, but still surprising that nobody kind of snatched him up and said, nope, we've got plans for you. And he lands on the Justice, which again goes back to my point with the Titans. Everybody wants to boo-hoo, and they look at the vision of the Justice that they have in their minds in the past of oh, look what happened to Corey. We don't want to burn talent. This is different. We need to have good teams. And the only way we have good teams is if you give them a chance. You have to be able to let them rebuild. And it looks like they're doing just that. So kudos to them. Kudos to them.
All right. Mm-hmm. We're going to actually stop here. It's a little bit shorter of an episode, but I want people to be able to get through it because we're going to be with Nuki tomorrow. And, that's a lot of Overwatch to talk about, So
I'll have some juice to the topics we conveniently left out here tomorrow in an article.
Great.
Okay. Very good.
We're going to practice some fortune telling and how this next season for some franchises and the Overwatch League at large will go. And it will be completely speculative, and it definitely is built on shaky grounds, but we'll try anyway.
All right, cool. Look forward to it. Might as well say your socials, since you told us what you're doing.
Right. Yep. At your scout. There you go.
There it is. Yeah, so before we do everything else, big thank you to Sad Albatross for the brand new sub and resubs, Quiznos Bear, Skeptical Cly, Ashidor, and Doing Work 99. Thank you so much. Welcome back. If you like the show and you don't want to go to Patreon, sub right here. Speaking of Patreon, big thanks to our patron producers, Refined Bean, Ferdino, Pin, Battlecrab, Kuchikopi, Lolshin, Rex Zane, Audio Compass, Kasha67, Shara Picasso, Nathan Your Misery, Hunter Tane, Fabled Steven, Roger B, Owen, Chris R34444, Horbjorn. I listen to this podcast while on the toilet and in the shower thinking of Yiska and Peace Camper. Thanks so much for supporting the show. If you too would like to support the show, go to patreon.com/tacticalcrouch. We've got some great perks there, a Crouchers only Discord channel. We do game nights once a month. We've got one that's going to be coming up for us real soon. We'll keep you posted on the date for that. Yeah, so appreciate that. If you're like, I don't want to give you guys money, I don't blame you at all. But you can leave us a 5-star iTunes review on iTunes. That's totally free to do. It helps us kind of be easily found thanks to the Apple algorithm. It's not iTunes anymore. It's Apple Podcasts. I got to change that. Anyways. Yeah, big thanks to everybody again for hanging out. Joe, shout-outs for the week. Where can people find you?
All the socials. If you find me, great. If not, that's cool too. This week, talking about Rascal and giving him some love. Talking about a player that I've been shouting on the hilltops about for years, it feels like. I'll leave that where it is. Maybe you can piece that together. No, not Kaiser. And yeah. Yeah, outside of that, we'll see. But yeah, that's the fun stuff coming up.
Cool. As for me, nothing big going on. Follow me everywhere at Kickedtripod. Love you all. Thanks for hanging out with us. Are you guys hanging out and around for some games after this, or we gotta split up?
I could probably play a few.
I gotta get my steps in, guys.
Steps in? What are you gonna take a walk? Yeah, where was my thinking it over, huh?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Oh, I swear, guys, I'm going to do sauerkraut and guten Morgen.
Maybe next weekend, we'll see. But in my defense, I took
you're old. We
vacation
get
days.
it. Yeah,
No, I took holiday vacations, which means the weather and like the weather gods immediately decided to throw buckets all over Germany for the longest time. And all I did was eat a lot of great food.
Yeah, you did post some absolute debaucherous pictures. Yeah. And I'm like, bro, your boy's still trying to diet and you're posting steaks.
I'm losing to the mayhem. Like, I'm dragging the mayhem back, basically.
Sorry, that's something in my nose. All right.
You're good.
Chat, we're out of here then. Thanks so much for hanging out. We'll be back tomorrow with Nuki. Until then, have a great one. See you guys next time. Bye.